October 2023, 2:49 a.m., Miami, Florida. You jolt awake as smoke fills your bedroom. There's a fire roaring in your apartment. So you dial 911, and when the dispatcher answers, she sends you a text with a link, and as soon as you click it, your camera activates. She can now see what you see. The smoke, the bedroom door, the fire beyond it, everything. She tells you to stay by the window because she already knows your exact location. And just as the smoke and flames surround you, a ladder slams against your window as firefighters pull you out. That little magic link just saved your life. But here's what they don't tell you. The company behind this tech was built by ex-Israeli spies and funded by this man, a convicted offender who had never invested in tech companies before this one. So why would Jeffrey Epstein invest in 911 tech? And who's really watching when you call for help? The answers are darker than you think. March 23rd, 2014, Gordon Beach, Tel Aviv. Amir Elikai walks along the shoreline as the sun sets on the Mediterranean Sea. He's 32, lean and scanning the crowd every few seconds. 7 years in Unit 8200 trained him to notice everything. But tonight, he slips up while being distracted by a couple arguing near the water. And moments later, two men grab him from behind, demanding his wallet and phone at gunpoint. Amir memorizes their faces and tattoos as he hands over his money, then watches them flee north toward the marina. A moment later, he borrows a beach vendor's phone and calls the police, giving them the robbers' exact descriptions. The dispatcher's fingers hover over their keyboard while she simply types, 2 males heading north. It then takes Israeli police 47 minutes to arrive, and by then, the trail is ice cold. Amir watches them flip through their notebooks, going through the motions, as one officer actually yawns. He knows justice won't be served today. That night, Amir opens up his laptop, still furious about the pathetic response from those officers. He's determined to find a better way. Because he knows what real investigations should look like. Real-time tracking, instant locations, expanded camera access. These are possible today, but their emergency services are still operating like it's the 1980s. So, he sketches out an idea. What if the dispatchers could see through their callers' cameras and track their exact GPS? It would save lives. But then he realizes something else. This tech could also become something far more powerful. The next morning, he calls Pinhas Bucharest, his former boss at Unit 8200, and now a top government official who oversees Israel's defense contracts. Within 2 days, they assemble a team of Unit 8200's top veterans for a meeting on the top floor of a glass tower in Herzliya. But not one paramedic, dispatcher, or firefighter is sitting amongst them, only former spies. It's there that they map out the plan, working out the technical details while discussing who might fund their new idea. And just 3 weeks after the mugging, they register a new company to turn Amir's vision into a reality. But with only $30,000 to fund it, they need some serious investors to build a proper company. So, Bucharest arranges a meeting with his old boss, Ehud Barak, the former Prime Minister of Israel and head of its military intelligence. Barak still has major connections around the world, and Amir intends to use them. The meeting lasts 45 minutes. Amir makes his pitch, explaining his story about the robbery and his idea to fix the problem with current emergency systems. Barak leans forward and sees the opportunity immediately, realizing this software is just as much about collecting information as it is about saving lives. He tells them he'll join the team, but he needs a partner to finance it. And Barak already has someone in mind, a business partner who collects secrets the way others collect art. So just 9 months after the company was founded, the 3 men join a video call. Epstein leans back and starts peppering the others with questions. He wants to understand every technical detail. How does camera activation work? What exactly can they see? who has back-end access. How long is footage retained? But by the end of the call, Epstein understands the true value of this software and agrees to invest. 3 months later, Israeli press reports that their former prime minister invested $1 million into Amir and Buchrest's company to help improve emergency responses, not knowing it was Epstein that secretly loaned Barak $1 million to kickstart the company. Because all three men knew they couldn't have a convicted offender's name connected to their company, so they made sure it stayed buried. By 2018, Amir's company had begun spreading across America, signing deals with major US cities like Atlanta, Miami, and New Orleans within months. News outlets start calling it revolutionary, life-saving technology. But not one of them knows why former spy operatives like Buchrest and Barak would want to be so involved, or where the money came from to build it, except for one reporter who stumbles onto the money trail which leads them to Epstein and calls Buchrest for comment, not knowing the bombshell they found. But Buchrest plays dumb and denies ever meeting Epstein. So, the story goes nowhere for a while as Carbyne continues spreading across hundreds of cities around the US. Amir and his colleagues couldn't be more excited, but on a summer morning in 2019, everything changes. Epstein's private jet touches down at a small airport in New Jersey to find 6 FBI agents waiting for him at the bottom of the stairs. He's immediately surrounded and handcuffed. CNN and Fox News get the story within hours, while in Israel, it feels like the world has been turned upside down at the Carbyne headquarters as they see the headline everywhere. Amir stares at the screen in shock. This arrest could ruin the years he spent growing his company. And within days, Israeli newspapers start to find Barak's connections to Epstein. It's at this moment that Ehud Barak announces he's dissolving his partnership with Epstein. Present tense, like it's happening now after the arrest. And for the next week, Carbyne's website starts changing nearly every hour, wiping away all ties to Epstein. Instead, Carbyne brought in new leadership, made up of former US generals and CIA agents. You'd never even know Israel's most advanced spy agency built the company at all, and you'd never know a pedophile funded it. But during all the chaos of the Epstein investigation, one question remained. Jeffrey Epstein never invested in tech companies, so why did he fund this one? Because Epstein was a man who used secrets to gain leverage, and he funded Carbyne for the same reason he wired his island with hidden cameras that caught some of the world's most powerful men in compromising positions. He wanted access to moments that he could use to his advantage, the same strategy, but on a different scale. And his business partners knew how to build surveillance systems. This wasn't their first time infiltrating American infrastructure. After 9/11, 2 Israeli companies quietly approached the US government, offering to help monitor telephone communications in America and prevent another attack on US soil. Both were founded by former Unit 8200 veterans, just like Carbyne. Shortly after US officials said yes, Verint started installing wiretapping equipment on Verizon's phone networks around the country, so that every call passing through their platform could be spied on, while Amdocs processed the records for nearly every call in America for years. And by 2007, these 2 Israeli companies were hiding inside every major phone carrier. But when Congress finally got around to asking questions about Israeli access to American phone records, nothing changed. Verint and Amdocs were asked to restructure, slightly, adding stronger oversight committees and better security. But ultimately, they kept their contracts, and Israeli intelligence learned something valuable. They could operate in America without consequences. So they expanded their services, forming a new company called Black Cube that specialized in making problems disappear for ultra-rich clients. And in 2016, when Harvey Weinstein needed help intimidating actresses making accusations against him, he hired Black Cube for $1.3 million. Within 2 weeks of signing contracts, a woman named Diana Phillip starts emailing one of Weinstein's key victims, inviting her to be a keynote speaker for an upcoming charity event. So, the two women start to meet at hotel bars in LA and New York, where Diana starts asking about Weinstein and records everything. Because she's a former Israeli intelligence officer named Stella Penn-Pachanik, who Black Cube sent to find out what McGowan knows, using spy tactics on American citizens in US cities. But when Black Cube's scheme was exposed, they didn't shut down. Instead, they're still operating today. Then came the NSO group and their spy tool, Pegasus. One click on an infected link and your phone belongs to them. The camera activates without the light while the microphone records while the phone appears off. Every message and movement is tracked. The FBI finds it on the phones of American diplomats, CEOs, and journalists, while foreign governments like Saudi Arabia use it to hunt down their critics, like journalist Jamal Khashoggi, who ends up dead in Turkey just weeks after the Saudis start using Pegasus. And despite sanctions by the US, the NSO group keeps selling to firms around the world. And this pattern isn't random. It's a strategic move from the top of the Israeli government. In September 2019, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, standing on stage at Cyber Week in Tel Aviv, and admits why, stating, "Our intelligence graduates are setting up companies everywhere. It's a source of power." Which brings us to today. In October 2025, a Microsoft engineer running routine diagnostic checks noticed unusual activity on some of Microsoft's cloud servers for one of its clients. He investigates further and finds over 195 million hours of phone recordings sitting in their system. Every call from Gaza and the West Bank is being stored in Microsoft's cloud by Unit 8200, while voice recognition runs 24/7. They're analyzing phone calls of millions of Palestinians, triggering keyword alerts based on target phrases and real-time relationship mapping. This is the same Unit 8200 who trained all of Carbyne's founders. Microsoft executives review the evidence and shut down Unit 8200's access within hours. But just 3 days later, the same system appeared on Amazon's cloud servers, giving Unit 8200 the same exact capabilities, just in a new location. Carbyne also stores your 911 calls, recording on Amazon's cloud at the same time, which means both of these systems have been given a free pass to run spy operations if they decide they want to. 300 emergency centers use Carbyne, but there's no public list to let you know which ones. When someone calls 911, their camera activates, so Carbyne can now see everything they see. But thanks to its partnership with Cisco for smart city integration, Carbyne also gets access to every nearby traffic camera nearby, logging everyone located around that emergency. But none of them will ever know. In late 2025, the company that makes 94% of police body cameras and tasers acquired Carbyne. Soon, they'll control the complete chain. Your 911 call, the dispatch, the body camera, the arrest, the evidence. All searchable for years. But that's all part of the plan. The US government knows who built this and whose money made it possible, and they approved it anyway, awarding Carbyne a $1.5 million contract even after Epstein's involvement was exposed. Which means they know that millions of Americans like you might already be in their system. So, when someone breaks into your house, or your loved one is having a heart attack, remember who's actually watching when you need help the most.